That's actually another thing that surprised me was
The no swearing
the
rule?
no swearing rule.
So we've got a no swearing rule.
I thought it was a joke and I'd read the policy.
And the first meeting we had, or
Yeah, it would have been.
It was pretty early on. You swore, and I said, "Hey, no swearing," and you were like, "Oh yeah, I did just read that." And I'm thinking, well, clearly not well enough because you just swore. What are you doing, you peanut?
Yeah.
Now listen, no trash talking, no cursing. Just play your game.
Trash talking, no cursing. Please me.
Hey there, today I am going to interview Natalia King from Skye. So welcome, Nat.
Hi, Phil.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I gave you a warning of just this morning saying, hey, let's do an interview.
Full hour.
Yeah.
Full hour of preparation.
So talk to me about what is your role at Skye?
I am a provisional year advisor.
Cool.
Internally, the junior advisor.
Yeah. What's a provisional year advisor?
So I am in my professional year at the moment. So I'm in quarter 3 of my professional year, and I am basically a trainee advisor, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. Yeah. All advisors now, to be an advisor, you've got to go through a professional year, which is like a gazillion hours of professional training and development.
1,600 hours.
Yeah, so 1,500 of like just workplace things. You got to log it all, which is no doubt amazing.
Don't look
fun.
at my logbook. It's
that's okay. That's a Trent problem. And then 100 hours of
proper education,
proper professional development sessions. So awesome. And when did you join Skye?
I had my 5-month review last week. So
review.
5 months.
How did you go in your review?
I passed, obviously.
Okay, good. All right, well done.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Cool. And what is one of the most surprising things about Skye that you either didn't know at all before joining, or you were like, I thought it was going to be this way, but it's actually this way? Good, bad, or ugly? I actually like hearing about bad things.
Probably just how I can kind of say anything to you or Trent, or even really realistically the team, but I can say anything that's on my mind, and it's either a conversation or it's a, cool, like, there's no stress, all good, move on, because a lot of workplaces say that that's how things are, but then potentially, it's not actually the way. And like, you hear stories of that in workplaces. So it was nice to just be able to go, hey, Phil or Trent, I had a conversation with Trent last week about, hey, I'm having this issue in my review last week. And he goes, he's like, we're aware of that. Like, we're not expecting perfection from you because we actually don't have the support for you at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's no me having to bust myself just to prove myself, because you can see what I can do with what I'm working with at the moment and know that support's coming, and I will be able to bust myself then, essentially.
Yeah. And I think, one thing that we try and talk about at Skye is like, how do we serve our team?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, that's our job, is to serve our team as best we can. Every team leader needs to think about serving their team, and there is like expectations we obviously have of ourselves as a business and one another in the team. But yeah, we are very much. I know I always am like, all right, what should I have done better? Even if it's someone else's fault, I'm like, okay, how should I have handled that better? And yeah, I know I've got friends, I'm not naming names, but I've got friends who are like, I know it's their fault.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it isn't. And I've actually, I'll leave it there.
I think the favorite thing is me talking to you and being like, hey, have you got any feedback for me? Because I like feedback, good, bad, otherwise. Give me feedback. I will work on it if I need to. And you're like, I don't know, talk to Trent.
Yeah, which is fair. We don't work together.
No, we
You're
don't.
not reporting to me, and so
I just find it funny.
I'll give you the corporate answer.
All right.
I empower my leaders to do their job. I'm not a helicopter leader.
If we were in that shirt, I think we're in trouble.
Yeah, we are in trouble. Anything else that surprised you? So, why did that surprise you? You thought that other work, or that normally it's like we say one thing and we do another in corporate world? Is that why it surprised you coming to Skye? Or
Yeah, a little bit like that. I think just hearing stories out there of people that, their boss says something and then they go away and do it, but then it gets turned around and made to be their problem at the end of the day.
Oh, we love the term gaslighting in 2025.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Oh,
That's great.
Anything else that surprised you about Skye?
How much I didn't know about insurance.
Yeah? Cool. Tell me more about that.
I had base level knowledge. I mean, I've been doing it for a couple of years, but I like more holistic than just specialising in the one area. So when you are doing full holistic advice, you are spread across, you need to know so many things that you don't get the chance to deep dive into specific areas. So I came in, I think one of the first pieces of advice that I worked through was around, it was a Zurich Active cover.
Oh, how fun.
I knew nothing.
Yeah.
I was like, I am sitting here gobsmacked.
Yeah.
And had to learn all about it before I then, went in and had a chat to someone about it.
Yeah. And I think insurance is kind of the ugly cousin of the advice world.
Yes.
And I think people think, well, what do? You just put it through a needs analysis, which just spits out the numbers.
It's
you
more
go and
than
quote,
that.
and then happy days. But now that you're in a specialist firm, and this is kind of what we do, and we want to make sure we do it really well.
Yeah.
Like, what are the learnings that you thought you knew something, but now being here, you're like, oh, now I know how much I didn't know. Is there anything in particular that you like? Was it like features or benefits of individual policies, or like exclusions or loadings? Like, was there anything in particular that you thought you knew more about, but realizing, actually, I need to upskill?
Around probably the IP, like the income protection piece, around the
Thank
whole...
you, no acronyms.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. You corrected yourself. You self-corrected.
I'll just say it again just to annoy you now. Around the income protection piece, the whole kind of top up, get rid of cover, like it was never really something that I deep dove into around any exclusions that might be expected on a policy. We were kind of like, I was kind of like, all right, cool, we'll recommend that we replace your cover. And if you get an exclusion, we'll just drop by that amount.
Yeah.
And then through, I guess, going through the pre-assessment process first. I am a little bit of a nerd when it comes to problem solving, but going through the pre-assessment process first, it's like, okay, cool, we're going to expect that. So how can we still get to that level, but we need to think about that thing over there as well. So, and then the around the income protection piece as well, you've got the difference between how super default insurances look at income protection versus how a retail insurer looks at income protection.
Yeah.
And the whole, any versus own occupation and the 5-year benefits versus the age 65 benefits. I think there was conversations going around last year around going for a 5-year benefit over an age 65 because you're only likely to hold the income protection policy for 5 years. So why have it to age 65?
Yeah. The full geeking out of it.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to come to an insurance-only specialist? So you were in a holistic advice firm.
Yeah.
Never been in an insurance specialist firm before. Why did you decide, actually, you know what? Insurance is the way to go. Well, you didn't decide that. You're still deciding. Yeah.
Still figuring it out. I mean, I've still got 5-month review. Like,
well, you passed. You said you passed. So
technically, it's a 6-month probation period.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's go. Well, 2 more weeks.
No. So I got to a point, and it was, do I want to specialize in something, or do I want to go into what I already know? And I enjoy doing, cash flow budgeting and looking at people's deep dive finances. Do I want to specialize in something that I don't know much about, or look at something that I don't know much about? Specializing for me means I can geek out about it and nerd out about it and know more and find out more. So going into an insurance only firm, it was still like, I like being able to help people figure out their finances and figure out how to protect their future and grow their future. So insurance still does that for people, because if something happens,
you bug it.
What are you going to do
stuff
for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
You're going to be... Yeah, I'm not going to say that on a podcast.
Yeah, no swearing. That's another rule.
I wasn't going to swear.
That's another rule. Oh, okay.
That's actually another thing that surprised me was...
The no swearing
the
rule?
no swearing rule.
So we've got a no swearing rule.
I thought it was a joke, and I'd read the policy.
And the first... Was it the first meeting we had? Or
yeah, it would have been.
It was pretty early on. And you swore, and I said, hey, no swearing. And you were like, oh, yeah, I did just read that. And I'm thinking, well, clearly not well enough because you just swore. What are you doing, you peanut?
Yeah.
So we do, actually, that is probably one thing, that we do have very clear rules, what is and isn't allowed. And we've got very thoughtful reasons why we do that. But, yeah.
Reading the policy and then doing it anyway, and then admitting that I'd read the policy.
Yeah, I know. I was
Week
just like,
one, we've got a
read the room.
Friday ritual,
Read
and
the
it's what's it? What do you call it?
Friday night game or Friday
No, the own up to your mistakes.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Biggest mistakes.
Because,
or
whatever.
Yeah.
So very first week with Skye, and feels like, nah, you've got one.
That's right. Yeah, we were like, yeah, we've got a mistake, and we share mistakes internally in our team, all team meetings, because we're all humans. We all make mistakes. We all want to. We don't want to normalize it and be like, oh, who cares if we make mistakes? We want to own our mistakes. And so,
I was like,
the first week,
I read
week
the policy and ignored the policy, and the fact that I'd read the policy and then admitted to reading the policy was probably even worse than just swearing in the first place.
Yeah, 100%. If you just said, oh, sorry, apologies, I wouldn't have even known.
No.
Actually, I just read the policy that day or the day before as well.
You didn't even know that it was in the policy.
Did not, maybe.
You were like, oh, is that in there?
I got emailed the policy.
You don't think you'd read it yet.
I may not have read it, but that's okay.
Anyways, going backwards, it still offers me a chance to do what I enjoy doing, and that's helping people figure out life and figuring out their future and being able to protect themselves and their family. But it gives me a chance to nerd out and learn something new.
Yeah, and problem solving is... Again, a lot of advisors think insurance is easy. You just do a quote and happy days. But there are once you specialise, there are so many. I mean, everyone did. There is so many problems to solve, and it's like it's not just tick and flick and happy days. It's like, all right, every individual is different, and whether you're same income, same sex, same job. Holistic advice, you relatively, if you've got the similar goals, which most people have similar goals, the outcome will be similar.
Yeah.
When it comes to insurance, based on your health history, all of that will have a massive impact.
So much more into it.
All right, last question for you.
Yep.
Is there any interesting fact about yourself or interesting hobby that you do?
I feel like you want me to share something, but you can share it for me.
No, I'm asking you if you've got anything interesting.
So when I joined Skye last year, Trent was like, how soon can you start? And I'm like, well, I'm going to Europe because I was doing an Ironman over in France. So I ended up not being able to start for a whole month after kind of my interview process because I was AWOL, but I do triathlons. Long distance triathlons.
Big triathlons.
Long distance triathlons.
Yeah.
And I'm also a trail runner, so I enjoy getting out into the hills and running up mountains. And my biggest challenge this year will be a 163 kilometre because 160 for the mile is not enough, but a run through the hills.
Yeah, cool. So, awesome. Well, thank you for joining.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks for letting me interview you last minute. Appreciate it.
I didn't really get a choice in the matter.
Nope, you did not. All right, awesome. Thanks.
Sweet as.